Hello everyone. So, yesterday I did a first in the series of a new Witcher 3 playthrough, mainly because on 14th of December 2022 they brought out a new update for The Witcher, which updated all the graphics, added ray tracing, added some kind of quality of life features, and also a couple of new quests, at least one new quest that I know of, and maybe more. Now, I will be doing all of my playthroughs on live, so if you want to see those, please do yourself a favour, hit subscribe and hit the bell. But what I wanted to talk about today was the performance of The Witcher. Now, just so that you don't get annoyed, actually, I will just quickly switch to my headset and go to my headset. The Steel Series. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about performance was because, so start again. The reason why I wanted to talk about performance was because it's actually been a bit underwhelming. I was quite underwhelmed with the performance when I first played it last night. So I just wanted to kind of go and explore some of the options. And actually, just one moment. There we go. I was only getting sound in one ear. It's already going well, this video. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of tweak around with the performance. So I'm currently running a i7 7700K with a GTX 1080 Ti. Now, I know that that's not the best specs in the world. It was maybe 5 years ago, or whenever these came out, but they are newer cards than the original game, and they were the top of the line when this game came out. So you would like to think that I could take advantage of some of the quality of life features without there being a massive performance hit. But that hasn't been the case. So what I'll do is I'll first just quickly show you the graphics settings that I'm running currently. So I've just gone on to Ultra graphics preset, so not RT or not RT Ultra. And if I look at what all that means, dynamic resolution scaling is on. Now, I noticed that last night my resolution, or just the general quality of picture, just went to shit for a little bit, and I think it was down to dynamic resolution scaling. So actually I'm going to turn that off. Everything else I'm going to leave on. Blur, motion blur, all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to leave Hairworks on for now. Now I know that that is a big one for performance. And I'll leave all this on, just everything on Ultra. And we'll go back and continue the game now. All I'm going to do is just run around with my friend Roach, who I was informed is always a mare. Okay. I think my sound has now gone.
Field is that the other side of the river.
Wow, so did you see that?
Good lad, Master Witcher. Though he...
Yes.
The frame rate.
Will he venture
I don't know if that's an initial just loading in textures and stuff like that, but we're currently looking at about 49 FPS, 52 FPS.
Come on.
Now if I just do a bit of a lap around here. So if I just kind of do a lap of this island, I mean, just look at this, how not smooth this is. So we'll do a lap around there and kind of then show you what my graph is telling me. So I've got MSI Afterburner running. And I can feel a lot of noticeable dips.
There's yonder.
A lot of noticeable dips. Now I'm not going to go that way, I'm going to go around here. Come back this way. And I'm getting quite a bit of stutter. So here I am, I'm back in White Orchard.
Making me a slingshot.
Shitting up blood.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly tab out of that and I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So I've got my frame rates here and this is when I started. So that 32 there is when we kind of had a cutscene, and cutscenes are normally locked at 30. But check this out, you know, I had a very small section where it was locked at 60, but then you're looking at anything between, I mean, it even dips to 36 towards the end there. So that is not a stable frame rate at all. Now what I have noticed here is GPU usage isn't maxing out, CPU usage isn't maxing out. So there's something going quite wrong there, I think. So the performance is taking a bit of a hit and I don't know why. So let's go back into the options. Let's go back into video settings and graphics again. So if I was to just, let's have a laugh and go RT Ultra. Now this is going to be horrific, but let's just go with it. Now you can see already that, I mean, what's going off with Geralt's hair? Wow, okay, so... Okay, so the resolution has gone absolutely terrible, and we're looking at a 12 FPS. Now, and the motion blur is absolutely sickening.
Run, Roach.
So that's got dynamics resolution scaling in play there, because the resolution has gone terrible.
Don't you look at me.
And the frame rate is terrible. And all for the sake of some good shadows, apparently. Now, I know I haven't got an RT graphics card, so this is completely to be expected. But this isn't my issue with the game. My issue with the game is that with hardware from, albeit 2 generations ago, but the best hardware possible, can't really achieve 60 frames per second at 1440p. Yeah, this is really bad. But this is just a kind of example of, you know, if you're trying to brute force ray tracing with a graphics card that isn't designed for it, you're going to have a bad time. We're at 13 frames a second.
What happened to your mug?
This kind of reminds me of when I tried to run games on a non-gaming laptop, when I had no idea that, you know, different computers were very different when it comes to capabilities. You know, way back when, you know, you had a poor laptop for Christmas or whatever. So go back to options again, because that is clearly absolutely terrible. So if we go back to not gameplay, but back to video, go to graphics again, let's set that to ultra. So anti-aliasing, have that on. Screen saves ambient occlusion on. Reflections high. So all this stuff is on. Let's try turning off Hairworks. So Hairworks is one that's pretty bad. dynamic resolution scaling will turn off. Okay, back. Let's just go back to display. So this is obviously what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm not sure what NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency does, but we can find out what that does in terms of frame rates very soon. So if I go back, so this is without Hairworks. So again, it's a lot smoother. There are dips, so I'm hovering around 44, 43 FPS at the moment. So that isn't really. That isn't really what I'm after.
They could have sewed his head back on.
Word is they laid his corpse to rest. Hush, hush, hush.
Now let's see what happens when I turn dynamic resolution scaling on. So if I go to video, graphics, now this should improve the frame rate, but make the picture itself. Right, so sorry, not Hairworks, dynamic resolution scaling, where was it? It's here. Let's turn that on. Okay, what do we get now? We're still hovering around the 48, 45, 47 FPS.
Don't you look at
Let's
me.
Let's get our friend. Where the hell is Roach? Oh my good lord.
Making me a slingshot. Gonna hunt bears.
Roach is being an absolute boss.
Come on.
So yeah, what I'm going to try and do now. Oh, I've been playing way too much Elden Ring.
Move it.
What I want to do now is try and get to a point where I can find where I can get a locked 60 at 1440p. And this isn't it, so I'm kind of hovering around 50 FPS. Now don't get me wrong, in a game like this, I personally think that 50 FPS is reasonable. It's not amazing, but it is reasonable. So we're at 57, 55, 56. What I'm finding though is my GPU usage is not maximum. Now when I was running RT cores, it was maximum. Now that's very strange, because my CPU usage isn't maxing out either. So I don't know what I'm bottlenecked by. I have no idea.
Bobbing about like shit in a blowhole.
So that's rather frustrating, actually, that I'm not getting full GPU usage, but I'm not getting full 60 FPS. So again, so if I were going to go to graphics, and then I'll go to, let's just do the high preset. Okay, high preset.
Freak.
Oh! Stop! Run, Roach.
It's Durban now. Tavern's empty.
Okay, so high preset. We are still not experiencing 60 FPS locked. Absolutely crazy. So if I run around here, we're getting about 51 FPS. And what I'll do is I will, to prove all this out later, I will just show you my graphs. Now I am getting 60 now, between 60 and 58. But you know, this is kind of what I always remembered Witcher looking like now anyway. Now it's dipped to 47. So let's go back to the town. As you can see, now that I'm back in the town, well, yeah, we're back at about 42 to 47 FPS.
Everything's
So let's go back to the options. And I can't believe I'm about to do this. Remember, I've got a 1080 Ti. Keep going into gameplay, and I'm not sure why. Graphics. Let's go with the low preset. The low preset.
fine.
Now, we are currently getting 59 FPS, which is, let's say that's 60. That's fair enough.
Giddy up.
So let's go and have a run around. Now my GPU usage is about 72%, getting a locked 60. I wonder whether it is anything to do with the fact that I am locking my frame rate. So I've got VSync enabled, and actually this is, so I'll show you the graph. I'm going to do another lap of this. I think this is fairly safe to say that I am locked 60 here. And when I get into the town, you do get slight dips, but slight dips are fine. Slight, you know, I'm not a massive graphical snob, but what I'm suggesting here is that this, I think I'm suggesting at 1440p, if you're running a 10th generation graphics card, you're not going to see any difference. You're not going to get any benefit whatsoever of the graphical updates.
Whoa!
And as you can see there was some weirdness going on with the water in the background there.
Hey-ya!
So now that we're back in here, we've got,
Everything's gonna be fine.
we are dropping now to 52,
Faster.
53 in the town.
Aye, so it worked. Septic was some drowned.
So let's get off the horse. Now I'm just going to quickly show my graphs again. So if I show you what's going off here. So these are my frame rates. So around this section here, that is where I had RT on, and that's the only time that my GPU usage was capped out. Absolutely maxed out there. This was on kind of ultra, so we were hovering around about 50 to 45, and then when I went on to kind of like medium or what high settings, it wasn't much different. In fact, the spikes are probably bigger, and then this was when I was running on low. So, you know, I think there's not that much difference between ultra and high really, in terms of, you know, you're gonna have a bit of a choppy experience, certainly in places that are highly populated. I've got no idea what it's going to be like when we get to like Novigrad and things like that. What I think I'm saying is this patch is not highly optimized yet whatsoever, this patch 4.0. A lot of people have been saying that rasterization performance is worse than what it was previously. Now I know they've added new textures and stuff like that, but the fact that my GPU usage never gets to 100% unless I stick RT on, that kind of is annoying. Now I'm going to try one last thing to see what happens. Now what I want to do is I want to try and peg The Witcher to be at, I want to have 100% GPU utilization. Okay, so what I might do first is exit the game. I'll press, yeah, I'll exit the game because I've done nothing. I've not collected anything. And while I'm doing this, I'll just give you my face. So what I'm going to do now is I'm literally just going to do a couple of things on my computer. So properties. So I'm going to just look at where the file location is. Okay, that's not something that I can do. So I was wanting to look at potentially just search for .exe. So bear with me one moment. Here we go. So Witcher3.exe. If I right click on that, go properties, details, security, previous versions, details. Digital signatures. So what I was looking to see if whether I can set this to be a higher priority for the GPU, but it doesn't seem like that's possible. Bear with me one moment. So one thing I am doing is I'm going to say run this program as an administrator. That might help. And then I'm going to go back into the game. Okay, and I'll share my screen again. So back to The Witcher 3 here. Now, I have been playing in DirectX 12 version. Now it says here DirectX 11 recommended for older PCs, but I'm pretty sure that that is just without the patch. So let's just go back into DirectX 12 for now. And what I'm going to do for this next part is, the only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to remove the cap for frame rate and see what happens. See if I can get my computer to basically run my GPU at 100% usage, and then at that point I'm hoping that
I see you.
performance will be better.
Hungry.
Okay, so if I continue.
Bard's tale begins near White Orchard, with my dear friend Geralt of Rivia seeking his lover of yore, the sorceress Yennefer. She'd eluded him for years, but now seemed just a few steps ahead.
So current GPU usage now is like 9%, but this is a cutscene. Now it's currently at 62%, but of course we are currently running at the low preset. So if I go back to Ultra preset, then I go to Dynamic Resolution Scaling, off, so I want to stay at the same resolution. Everything else is Ultra. Go to Display, and I say maximum frames per second is 144. Now we won't get that, but I'm hoping right then. My GPU usage is still not maxed. That is rather annoying. My CPU usage isn't maxed either. So my GPU usage is about... Oh, it is getting there now. It's up to 99, 93. Five. So I am getting a much higher GPU usage, but it's not 100%, which is crazy because there's no way I'm getting 144 frames per second. I'd like to think that this is still around about 60 with Ultra. Now don't get me wrong, the game doesn't look bad, it looks very good actually.
Go, go.
So let's go back into the city.
What happened to your mug?
My gran told me about Smithville. Lad went missing one day, so folk nabbed a witchman that was hunting nearby. Started
And I'll
poking
quickly
him
show you
when he started twisting and
what I'm looking at in terms of frame rates. So here we go, here's the frame rate here. So there's locked 60. Now I just turned off the locked 60 there, and we were getting around 66, 69, 70. A dip there to 55, 48. So there's a dip. And then when we got into the city, we got dips there of 47 to 52. Now you can see GPU usage is not capped, but it's still a lot higher than what it was. But these are the same settings as what I had back here, so we're just removing that makes a big difference. I think that is there's something wrong with them locking the frame rate at 60. It just doesn't seem to be working for whatever reason. Now what else could be causing issues? My memory usage is quite high, but it's nowhere near the max. I've got 24 gigs of RAM. Now it is quite slow RAM. Don't know if that makes a difference in games. I can't imagine it does. But there we go. Now the last thing I will do is I'll just exit out of here, and then this will be the end of the video once I've done this, but I will relaunch the game again in DX11 and see what happens then. So if I click on, let's run this bad boy. Let's see what happens for DX11. Now I am hoping that there are optimizations coming out for not just the RT, but for people like me on older hardware. I'm hoping that something can be done to kind of smooth this out, but at the moment there is some weirdness going on. I'm not getting my GPU constantly stacked at 100% usage, even if I put the frame rate limiter way up.
I see you gather before me.
Okay, so it's acting as if this is a completely different version of the game, which it might be.
This bard's tale begins near White Orchard.
So I'll click on continue, and then I'll stick everything on maximum, and then I'll kind of compare the frame rates.
She'd eluded him for years, but now seemed just a few steps ahead.
Again, this is saved on an SSD, so that shouldn't be a problem. Instantly, that felt quicker. Now, if I was to go options, video, graphics. Okay, so now what we've got is Ultra and Ultra Plus. So let's go with Ultra Plus to start off with. No, I'm not going to change anything else. Let's go to display and set this to the maximum and see what we get. And Geralt goes bald for a minute. Okay.
Go, go.
Okay, so it took a long time to initially load in all the textures for the grass and everything else, which caused some stutter. That's kind of normal in an open world game, so I'm not going to hold The Witcher against that. But how do I feel about this running around the world? Ultra Plus, I think this it definitely looks a bit worse, I think, in terms of textures, maybe. But in terms of frame rate, now I have asked this to be an unlocked frame rate, but crazily enough, my GPU usage is pegged at 99%. So I'm getting maximum use out of my GPU. My GPU is getting, you know, burnt to a crisp currently. My horse is also knackered. Sorry, Roach. You're going to have to get better at this, Roach, I'm afraid. But my performance on DX11 is actually on Ultra Plus just slightly above 60 frames a second.
Faster.
Now, I don't know whether we will see much of a difference when it comes to the performance and the textures. I mean, that armor looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Now that we're in here, it's about 52, 53 FPS.
Think those plums are wreaking havoc on my gut. For trouble.
You know, how different does this look? Okay, so one thing I will do is I will just hover this over Geralt for a bit and spin this around.
What do I know?
You know, looking at the hair, looking at everything. You know, take all that in, all the details and everything else. And then we'll quit out the game, start again, and then see what that looks like in DX12 version. What I think I'm saying here is that the DX11 version is much more highly optimized. But I have a sneaking suspicion the DX12 version looks nicer. So again, just a recap of my PC components. I'm running an i7 7700K, which is 4 cores, 8 threads. It's overclocked to 4.8 locked. It's pretty much, it never doesn't perform at that. It's a very steady overclock. Okay, this is apparently running at 138 frames per second now. But of course, this is, so in the menu I'm running at 138 frames per second.
This bard's tale begins near White Orchard, with my dear friend Geralt of Rivia seeking his lover of yore, the sorceress Yennefer. She'd eluded him for years, but now seemed just a few steps ahead.
So again, now this is
Come on.
the DX12 version.
What happened to your
And just to make sure that we are on the right settings, let's go to options, video, graphics, and to ultra. And then display, we are at 144 with VSync on. We are running at slightly higher RAM usage than what we had on the DX11, I must admit. Very slightly.
Run,
So if
Roach.
I go back to the same, roughly the same areas we were before. So I was standing facing this way, just outside of here. So that feels like there's some dynamic resolution scaling going on. So let me go into the options, because that just doesn't look as sharp. Video. Let's turn off dynamic resolution scaling. Oh no, it's off. It is off. So that just doesn't feel like we're getting anywhere near as clear a picture. Now we are at 1440p. I think it is. I think that does look better. It probably looks not as crisp, but I think probably the details are significantly better in the face of Geralt. Maybe I'm wrong. And last but not least, just for a bit of fun, let's go to video, graphics, RT Ultra. And I'll say goodbye to my graphics card. Okay.
Ekkelijn ted at the game. Ep Avon Ealva.
Obviously the frame rate is horrendous.
Kings do the fighting.
And it's doing a lot of dynamic resolution scaling there to try and make it so that my computer doesn't explode. My graphics card is completely pegged at 100%.
Happened to your mum?
But again, that was expected because this isn't an RT. This hasn't got any RT cores. Back to the video. Let's go back. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, it just feels like my computer's slowly dying trying to do this. So back to Ultra. Make sure that, you know, everything's fine. Okay, and we're going to exit at that. That's kind of just the general discussion that I wanted to have, really. So here's, again, all of my charts from everything that we've been doing over the course of this video. So here we are, we had a locked frame rate for a small while. That was when I was doing ray tracing, so that, I think that was in a menu. This was my first section when I was playing Ultra, but had my VSync on and locked to 60, but we very rarely got to 60. So ray tracing and then various other tests. This was when we was at low, but with VSync on. This was when we turned off VSync, and we got considerably better frame rates pretty much across the board when we turned off VSync, and a lot better GPU usage. So pretty much 99% GPU usage across the board there, which is fantastic to see. So my advice to probably anyone then who is running a 1080 Ti on The Witcher, you know, you can probably tweak other things. You can see other videos. I'm not, you know, this isn't Digital Foundry. This is just what I was experiencing, what I thought was a slightly disappointing performance considering my hardware and considering the age of the game. I know this is an update to bring it into the current gen, and I'm running previous gen hardware, but I was still expecting more because I wasn't turning on ray tracing. So I think the idea really is not take off VSync, but push the frame limiter up past 60, and actually you'll see an increase where you can actually achieve 60 at full Ultra 1440p with your 1080 Ti. You know, I think that's, you know, you will get dips below that, but it is what it is, and ray tracing is obviously completely out the window. So I think that is it. So yep, that's the video. Just, and thank you for watching. If you liked this video, then give us a subscribe and a like. If you have any insight whatsoever into, you know, performance of the Witcher 3 update that came out yesterday, that being the 14th of December. If you've been having issues, leave a comment below. Tell me what your issues you've been having, or if you have any, you know, useful information on how to squeeze a little bit more performance for not much graphical infidelity hit, that would be much appreciated. And last but not least, I will be streaming my Witcher 3 playthrough. Any time that I fire it up, I will be streaming that, which will probably be around 7 p.m. GMT on most evenings. However, today and tomorrow I've got a day off work, so it'll be earlier than that, and it'll be a longer stream. I tend to stream for around about 3 hours at a time, but I might do a longer stream today and tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and peace.